Is there such a thing as being too young to get sober? It's a question wrapped in stigma, tied to myth, and whispered among young people afraid that admitting struggle too early somehow invalidates their pain. But at 25, Lauren McQuistin didn't wait for the world to collapse around her. She chose herself. She chose life. She chose sobriety. And in doing so, she challenged one of the most dangerous narratives young adults still carry, that you must hit some cinematic, rock bottom, before you're allowed to get better. For Lauren, the signs were already there. She was studying opera at the prestigious Yale School of Music, a place of artistic brilliance but also immense pressure. Behind the curtain of performances and rehearsal halls, her relationship with alcohol was consuming her. She wasn't just drinking like a college student. She was drinking to survive, to numb, to silence the inner noise, to feel like she belonged, to disappear. While her peers were embracing their 20s with reckless abandon, parties, bars, bottles, Lauren was quietly drowning. But the world didn't see that. Because she didn't fit the stereotype. She wasn't arrested. She wasn't in debt. She hadn't lost a job, a marriage, a house, or custody of children. She didn't even have those things to lose. She was, in her own words, just trying to hold herself together, and failing. I didn't feel like I was ever on the track, she says. There's something haunting in that sentence. It's not the idea of falling off course, it's the idea that she never found the course to begin with. And that's where this story changes. Because Lauren didn't need permission to get better. She didn't wait for a DUI. She didn't wait for an overdose. She didn't wait for humiliation, or tragedy, or death. She got sober because she knew her life could be more than what it was. She got sober because she was tired of pretending. She got sober because the idea of continuing like this, even with the world telling her it wasn't that bad, was unbearable. And now, she's telling her story. Not because it ends with a fairy tale. Not because sobriety suddenly made everything perfect. But because sobriety made everything possible. That's the truth so many young people need to hear. That you don't have to wait until you lose everything to gain yourself. That you don't need external disasters to validate internal suffering. That addiction isn't about how much you drink, it's about how you feel when you do. And Lauren felt like she couldn't breathe. So she chose air. She chose mornings without hangovers. Nights without blackout apologies. Rehearsals with clarity. Relationships without shame. Silence without fear. And in doing so, she redefined what recovery looks like. Because recovery isn't reserved for the desperate and broken. It's available to the awake and aware. To those who want more. To those who recognize the patterns and say, no more. Lauren's story matters because it doesn't play by the usual rules. There's no dramatic climax. No public meltdown. No mugshot. There's just a quiet decision, the kind of decision that saves lives every day without making headlines. And she's not alone. There is a generation out there, millennials, Gen Z, who are questioning the entire culture of drinking. A generation that is redefining what adulthood, healing, and growth look like. A generation that is saying, I don't need to prove my trauma to deserve recovery. They are sober curious, sober committed, sober and unapologetic, and they're not waiting until they're 50 with a history of destruction behind them. They're doing it now, because they've seen what waiting costs. Because they know that choosing sobriety early isn't weak. It's revolutionary. Lauren McQuistin's voice carries the resonance of someone who has sung on opera stages. But the power in her story comes not from volume, it comes from honesty. She is showing us that the question isn't, are you too young to get sober? It's, what are you waiting for? If you're suffering, you deserve help. If you're lost, you deserve direction. If you're tired, you deserve rest. And if you're young, you deserve a future. One that's clear. One that's healthy. One that's yours. Lauren didn't need to hit bottom to rise. She simply decided she was done sinking. And for that, she is not too young. She is exactly right on time.